The Sega Saturn is no stranger to racing games, from arcade races like Sega Rally Championship and Daytona USA, to lesser known ones like Wangan Dead Heat Plus Real Range, which was released in the West as Highway 2000 with the gimmick that you're trying to impress your co-driver by winning races. Impress essentially boils down to them getting more and more disrobed until they're finally wearing a bikini, apparently on a set where they forgot to key something into the background. But awkward inter-race cutscenes aside, there is a decent racing game to be had here. Set across a series of city-themed racetracks, the game plays more like Ridge Racer than it does something like Sega Rally Championship, where your car can be sent fishtailing wildly into insane drifts with the slightest depression of the brake. Like any drift-focused arcade racer, mastering how this mechanic works is a key to winning, and once you get the feel for sliding around corners and narrowly dodging, or not, your opponents, Wangan Dead Heat really comes into its own. The core gameplay is extremely fluid, and with several cars, including unlockable ones to drive, while they don't feel too different from one another, they all look decently modelled and different enough to hold your attention. Additionally, there's a night version of each track, which does make a difference as there's so few courses on offer initially, but there's no special lighting or any additional effects applied to your car, which is a bit of a shame. How does Wangan Dead Heat compare to something like Drift King 97? Well, we'll talk about Drift King 97 more next time, but to put it plainly, the game is completely different. While Drift King is more focused on tuning and grinding credits to get better parts to get the edge on your opponents, Wangan Dead Heat is simply about how well you control your car around corners, outmaneuvering your opponents, and ultimately winning. It's about as pure as a straight racing game can get without any frills. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, but if you play Drift King 97 first, you don't get the same sense of tactile pleasure you get from that game once you've finished Wangan. Graphically, the game is very solid with nice clean textures and decent enough level geometry for the most part. The cars look clean and nicely modelled, and the frame rate is pretty slick. The only major issue from a presentation perspective is a hideous pop-in where the city is being drawn very close to your car while you're racing. Additionally, car models and seams on level geometry can sometimes break up, which is a bit ugly. The video is fairly low quality and pixelated as well. No fancy duck true motion codec video here. However, an interesting fact about this title is that it does support the MPEG card, which gives substantially higher video quality. Other than some pretty decent sound and music in the game, there isn't much more to Wangan Dead Heat. There's a few cars to unlock, night mode, and the aforementioned FMV if you really want to be awkwardly stared at by people standing in front of an unkeyed blue screen. The real meat here is the racing, which is really fast, really fun, and definitely engaging. I consider Wangan Dead Heat to be a bit of a hidden gem, and it's one I'd highly recommend picking up and playing if you haven't had a go yet.